everyone, President Trump is back in the news saying he wants to send a $2,000 stimulus check to all Americans before the end of the year. And I know what you're thinking. Here we go again. Another promise. Is this actually real? I've been getting flooded with questions from you guys asking whether this is legit, and honestly, I understand the skepticism. We've heard promises about stimulus checks all year long, and haven't seen a single dime. But here's the thing. This time, there are some real developments happening in Congress that you need to know about. I spent hours digging through the actual legislation, reading what the White House press secretary said just a few days ago, and tracking exactly how we went from a $600 proposal to $1,000 to now $2,000. And I'm going to walk you through all of it, because you deserve the truth, not just clickbait headlines. But I need to be upfront with you. We are 45 days away from the end of 2025. If this is going to happen, Congress needs to move on it right now. And there are some serious questions about whether they actually will. Before we dive in, if you're new here, welcome to Retirees Benefits. I'm here to help you navigate benefits, tax credits, and programs that can actually put money in your pocket. Make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell, because when it comes to money like this, timing is everything. And go ahead and drop a comment letting me know your city and state so I know where you're watching from. Okay, let me give you the backstory because this didn't just come out of nowhere. This whole thing actually started back in July when President Trump first mentioned sending a $600 stimulus check to Americans. That July announcement prompted Senator Josh Hawley from Missouri to actually draft legislation in Congress. And I'm not just telling you this. I read the actual bill. It's a 14-page document that amends the Internal Revenue Code to provide rebate checks to individuals using tariff revenue. The bill specifically mentioned $600 or more in stimulus payments. But then nothing happened. The president moved on to other things, and that $600 stimulus idea just kind of died in the summer. Fast forward to October 7th, and this is where it gets interesting. President Trump came back with an even bigger promise. Fox News reported that he's now considering giving Americans between $1,000 to $2,000 in what he's calling a, quote, tariff stimulus. Here's what the president actually said, and I'm quoting him directly. We are going to do something. We also might make a distribution to the people, almost like a dividend to the people of America. We are thinking maybe $1,000 to $2,000. It will be great. Did you catch that phrase, might make a distribution? That's important, because it tells you this isn't locked in yet. So we went from $600 in July to potentially $2,000 in October. But then, you guessed it, nothing happened again because the government shutdown sucked all the oxygen out of the room. Now here we are in November, and the president is back talking about stimulus again, and this time he's being more specific. He posted on social media just this past Sunday saying he wants to send $2,000 tariff dividend checks to Americans, and he wants it done before the end of this year. Let me repeat that, before the end of 2025. We're talking about a Christmas bonus situation here, if this actually happens. The president's whole argument is based on tariff revenue. He says the administration has collected billions of dollars from tariffs, and he wants to share that money with the American people as a dividend. So let's talk about the actual numbers, because this is where things get tricky. How much money has actually been collected from tariffs? I looked up the data, and here's what I found. In January, they collected $8 billion. By April, it was up to $17 billion. In July, it hit $30 billion. And by September, we're at $31 billion. If I'm doing rough math here, that's somewhere around $180 billion in tariff revenue collected so far. That's a lot of money, right? But here's the problem. The president is promising to use that tariff money for multiple things. He wants to pay down the national debt, which is $37 trillion. He wants to fund his tax cuts, and he wants to send stimulus checks. You can't do all of those things with $180 billion. It's just not possible. So if this stimulus does happen, who would actually qualify? Based on what the president has said, this would go to all Americans. He specifically mentioned seniors on Social Security and people receiving disability benefits. This is different from some of the other proposals we've seen that have income limits. The president seems to be suggesting this would be more universal, but here's what we don't know yet. Would there be income phase-outs? Would it be based on your 2024 tax return? Would people who don't normally file taxes need to do something special? Those details haven't been worked out yet because, again, there's no actual bill that's been passed. It's still just a proposal. Let me walk you through what would actually need to occur for you to get a check before the end of the year. First, the Supreme Court needs to rule on whether the tariffs themselves are even legal. Right now, there are cases pending that challenge the president's tariff authority. If the court rules against the tariffs, there's no revenue to fund any stimulus. Second, Congress would need to pass legislation. Senator Hawley already drafted a bill back in July, but it never went anywhere. They'd need to either revive that bill or write a new one, get it through the House, get it through the Senate, and get it to the president's desk. Third, and this is crucial, President Trump would need to make this his #1 priority. Here's why that matters. We've seen that when President Trump really wants something from Congress and makes it his top priority, he gets it. Look at what happened with his big legislative bill earlier this year. That was massive, and it passed because he made it his priority. But if stimulus is just something he mentions every few months to get people excited before moving on to the next thing, it's not going to happen. Congress needs to know this is what he wants done. So here's where it gets really interesting. The White House press secretary was interviewed a few days ago, and a reporter asked specifically, how can Americans trust the president to make this stimulus happen this year? That's the billion-dollar question, right? The press secretary's answer was basically that the president is committed to using tariff revenue to help the American people, but she didn't give any concrete timeline or guarantee. That tells me the administration is aware people are skeptical. They know we've heard promises before. But awareness doesn't equal action. All right, let me be completely honest with you about what I think is actually going to happen. The president wants to use tariff revenue for 3 major things: paying down debt, funding tax cuts, and sending stimulus checks. There's not enough money to do all 3, at least not at the levels he's talking about. So the question becomes, what's the priority? If stimulus checks are truly his #1 priority, then yes, I think there's a real chance this could happen. But if it's just one item on a long list of things he'd like to do, I'm skeptical. Here's my test. If President Trump starts talking about this stimulus relentlessly, every single day, in every interview, bringing it up even when he's asked about other things, then I'll believe it's going to happen. Because that's what he does when something is truly his priority. He doesn't stop talking about it. But if we go another few weeks and we only hear about it occasionally, then I think it's more of a nice idea than an actual plan. Now, I know all of this might sound discouraging, but let me give you some actually good news. While we wait to see if this $2,000 check materializes, there are things you can do right now to get money. First, if you haven't filed your taxes for 2024 yet, you need to do that as soon as possible. There are tax credits available right now that could put thousands in your pocket. The Earned Income Tax Credit, the Child Tax Credit, and others. Second, many states are offering their own relief programs that have nothing to do with federal stimulus. Some states are sending out rebate checks, grocery credits, or utility assistance. Check what's available in your state. Third, make sure you're enrolled in all the benefits you qualify for. SNAP, Medicaid, HELI-EYAP for heating and cooling assistance, Medicare savings programs. These programs are available right now and can save you thousands per year. Here's your action plan while we wait to see what happens with this stimulus. 1. Keep your information updated with the IRS. If any stimulus does get approved, they'll use your most recent tax return and bank information on file. Make sure they have your current address and direct deposit information. 2. File your taxes even if you don't think you owe anything. This is how the government will know where to send any payment, and you might already qualify for refunds you don't know about. 3. Be extremely careful about scams. Whenever stimulus money is in the news, scammers come out in full force. The government will never call you asking for personal information. Don't give anyone your social security number or bank account details over the phone or email. 4. Stay informed, but don't put your life on hold. Don't make financial decisions based on money that might never come. Budget and plan with what you actually have. 5. Let your representatives know this matters to you. If you want Congress to prioritize this, call your senator and representative. Tell them you support stimulus payments. Public pressure actually does make a difference. I know everyone wants to know when they might actually see money, so let me be straight with you. If this is going to happen before the end of 2025, Congress needs to act in the next few weeks. We're 45 days from the end of the year. That's not a lot of time for Congress to draft legislation, debate it, pass it through both chambers, and get it to the president's desk. Then, the IRS would need time to process and send out payments. Is it possible? Yes. Is it likely to happen that fast? I'm going to be honest. It would be pretty unprecedented. More realistically, if Congress passes something early next year, we might see payments in the spring of 2026. But that's assuming they prioritize this at all. So will you get a $2,000 stimulus check this year? Here's my honest answer. It's possible, but I wouldn't count on it yet. What we have right now is a proposal that the president keeps mentioning. What we don't have is actual legislation moving through Congress, a clear funding mechanism, or concrete details about who qualifies and when payments would go out. The president has floated this idea 3 times this year. $600 in July, $1,000 to $2,000 in October, and $2,000 in November. Each time, nothing happened. That pattern makes me cautious. But, and this is important, things can change fast in Washington, especially when President Trump makes something a priority. So I'm watching this closely, and you should too. Here's what I want you to take away from this video. Stay informed, but stay realistic. Don't turn down a job or make a major financial decision based on a stimulus check that might not come. Plan your budget with what you actually have. At the same time, don't completely dismiss this. Keep your information updated with the IRS, stay on top of the news, and be ready to act if this does move forward. And remember, whether this specific stimulus happens or not, there are other programs and benefits available to you right now that can help. Don't wait for a maybe when there's money you can access today. I'm going to stay on top of this story and update you the minute anything concrete happens. Whether it's good news or bad news, you'll hear it from me, and I'll always give it to you straight. If this video helped you cut through the confusion and understand what's really going on, hit that like button. It helps YouTube show this to more people who need real information. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't already, and turn on notifications. When there's an update about this stimulus or any other benefit that could help you, I'll make sure you know about it immediately. I want to hear from you in the comments. Do you think President Trump is serious about this stimulus, or is it just something to get us excited that won't actually happen? Let me know your honest opinion down below. I read every comment. And hey, if you're feeling frustrated about your financial situation right now, know that you're not alone. Millions of families are in the same boat, trying to figure out how to make ends meet. That's why this community matters. That's why sharing information matters. I've got more videos coming up about tax strategies, state benefit programs, and other ways to get money in your pocket. Check the description box for links to those videos. Thank you so much for being here and trusting me to give you real information. I don't take that lightly. I'll see you in the next video, and hopefully it'll be with good news about this stimulus.